All right, today we are going to be covering the review. So remember, the review is very similar to the test. So if you have any questions on the review, feel free to ask your teacher or one of the other geometry teachers about questions that you're having. Okay, so let's look at these first 4 questions. So what I'm going to do is break it down. So let's first go down and look at angle 4. So angle 4, I know, is on the interior because my interior is what's in between the 2 parallel lines, and the exterior is what's outside. Okay, so angle 4 is on the interior, and then if I'm looking at my transversal, it is on the right side of my transversal, so left, right. So it's interior and to the right. We look at angle 6. Well, angle 6 is also on the interior and right of my transversal. So if these are both interior and both on the right, I know these are going to be on the same side of the transversal and interior. So that's B. Now let's look at 5. So I'll do 5 in orange, or 1 and 5. So angle 1 is here. So angle 1 is now on the outside and on the left side of the transversal. And now I go down and look at 5, and I see 5 is on the now inside because it's in between these 2 parallel lines. So inside, and it's also on the left of my transversal. So now I'm seeing one's on the outside and one's on the inside. So when I see that, I immediately know it can't be any of my same side interior, same side exterior, alternate interior, alternate exterior. It can't be any of those because one is on the outside and one is on the inside. So when I look at that, I start to notice that it seems like angle 1 and angle 2 are in the same location at their respected intersection. So what I've realized is that this is corresponding. So that is C. Now I go down to question 3. Question 3 I'll do in pink. So I look at angle 7. So angle 7 and angle 8. Now, the first thing that I notice is that angle 7 and angle 8 exist at only one intersection. Okay, that's important because when I'm thinking about angles for one intersection, I only have 2 terms, and it's either going to be vertical or linear. And now vertical, I know, are going to be angles that are across from each other. So if I'm looking at this X, if I have an angle here, the other one has to be across it. Now when I'm looking at linear, that's going to be a linear pair, I should say. And linear pairs are adjacent or touching. Okay, so when I'm looking at 7 and 8, I notice that they share this ray here. So that means that they are, in fact, D, a linear pair. Okay, let's look at the very last one. We'll do in green. So now we're looking at 2 and angle 3. So angle 2 is right here, and 3. Once again, I notice these are one intersection. However, this time, I notice that they are right across from each other. And so when I see that, I realize it's vertical. So this one's going to be E. Okay. Give you a second to absorb that. And now I'll move on to the next portion. So for this one, okay, the first thing that I'm going to see when I see a picture like this is I am going to extend my lines. Okay, extend my lines. And then I'll extend them this way. I'll extend them this way. And now what we see is a double parallel intersection. So if I just go here, if this angle is 121, then its linear pair is also going to be, or not also, but going to be whatever 121 needs. So if this is question mark, 121 plus question mark equals 180. So I subtract 121 from both sides, and my question mark angle is 59. So every single image in this picture is going to be either 129 degrees or 59 degrees. So now I'm going to go in and mark up every angle here that I see. So I notice 59, so this angle right here, and Y are alternate interior. So Y is also 59. Now, if I cover up everything right here, and I'm only looking at this angle right here and my Y, I see that these are same side interior. And so these are supplementary. So if this is 59, then this angle is equal to 121. Okay, I'm going to erase what I covered up in blue. And now, if I do the same thing here and cover up this, I see this angle, 121, is also same side interior to Z. And so that means Z is also 59. Okay, so I'm going to erase that. Now, when I break it down, I have X equals, Y equals, and Z equals. Okay, so Y and Z are very easy because we've already found what Y and Z equals. So Y is 59 and Z is also 59. Once again, we found that simply by just marking up our diagram. So that would be 121, 121, 59, 59, 59, 121, 121, 121, 59. Okay, and we've labeled all of the angles now. Now, however, the last thing that we have to realize is that even though this angle is 121, that's not the value of X. We have to find the value of X that when multiplied by 2, and then we add 3 to it, gives us 121. So 121 equals 2x minus, or plus 3. So to solve, step step 1 is I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. When I do that, these two 3's cancel, and I'm left with 2x equals 121 minus 3, and I get 118. Now I go in and divide by 2 on both sides, and I should get 59 is equal to x. And if I check myself, I can say, plug it into a calculator. So 2 times 59 plus 3. And if you check yourself, plug it into a calculator, you do in fact get 121. So we're happy. So x is also equal to 59 degrees. Or not 59 degrees, but 59. Okay. Now, same thing again. Okay. Let's first look at this. Now, be careful. A lot of times people are immediately going to want to say x is 90. However, because these lines are not labeled as perpendicular, we can't make any assumptions, so we're going to have to work a little harder than that. So I am first only going to look at one half of this picture. So I am going to mentally block out this entire side right here, and I am only looking at this picture right here. So this angle and x are same side interior. And we know same side interior is supplementary. So when they're supplementary, our formula is angle plus angle equals 180. So my first angle is 93. So I replace this with 93. Plus my next one is x, and that's equal to 180. Subtract 93 from both sides, and I get x is equal to 87 degrees. Okay, so that is the first half of it. Now, I'll erase that, and I'm blocking out this half. Okay, we'll switch colors. We'll choose a pinkish color because it's my favorite. And then I'm going to extend my image. Woo, that was scary. Undo that line. There we go. Extend this image here. Make my transversal line extended. And now I see these two lines are also same side interior. So once again, same side interior, same side supplementary. So my formula is angle plus angle equals 180. So I plug it in, y plus 115 equals 180. Subtract 115 from both sides, and I get that y is equal to one. I'm going to use calculator so I make sure that I don't mess up for y'all. And we get y equals 65. Okay. So once again, feel free to pause the video to look at the work. Okay. Now, for our next one, we see we have an angle right here, an angle right here. So we're looking at this in this intersection. So I'm looking at this picture right here. 29 degrees is in the top and then left corner. So it's above the transversal to the left. Then I notice if I'm looking at this picture right here, 3x plus 5 is also in the top left. So what we see is that they match locations. Now, matching locations should be an immediate trigger that you realize that they are corresponding. And what you should remember is corresponding is congruent. They both start with C's. So corresponding, congruent. So immediately I know when it's congruent, my formula is angle equals angle. So the equation is 29, that's my first angle, is equal to second angle 3x plus 5. So whatever in this corner, I write it down. Whatever was in this corner, I write it down as equal. Okay? Now, to find the value, all we're doing is solving. So, 29 equals 3x plus 5. I'll subtract 5 from both sides. 24 equals 3x. Divide by 3, and I get 8 equals x. And that is my answer. Okay, feel free to pause the video if you have to see how I solve that. Okay, once again, if I look at this, my 6x, so 6x is interior, and so it's on the interior and right of the transversal. 3x is also interior and right of the intersection. Okay, when I see this, we're looking at two different intersections, or right of the transversal, sorry. But we're looking at two different intersections, so we realize that these are same side interior angles. And so remember, same side, supplementary. So the equation I'm going to use is angle plus angle equals 180. So first angle is 6x. So I say 6x plus second angle, 3x equals 180. Okay. So now, all I do is I solve 6x plus 3x equals 180. First thing I'm going to do is combine like terms. So 6x and 3x add to give me 9x, which is equal to 180. Now, since 9 and x are touching, we realize that they're being multiplied. So the opposite of multiplication is division. Divide by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1, and 1 times x is x. So x is equal to 20. Okay, so x is equal to 20. All right. Looking at these next two. So we're looking at this angle and this angle. What I immediately notice is that they match locations. So if they match locations, they're corresponding. And if they're corresponding, they're congruent. So that means my equation is angle equals angle. So when I plug that in, my first angle is 6x plus 5, which is equal to x minus 10. Now I just solve. So 6x plus 5 equals x minus 10. Add 5, add 5. 6x equals x. Okay, erasing what I did. Working too fast, not thinking on what I'm doing. Be careful as you're solving. Equals x minus 10. All right, going again. Since it's 6 plus 5, I need to subtract 5 to make that become 0. So if I subtract 5 from one side, I have to subtract 5 from the other side. So when I do that, 6x is equal to x minus 15. Now I'm going to subtract x here. Subtract x because I want all of my x's on one side. These two x's will cancel. And I get 5x equals negative 15. Divide by 5. Divide by 5, and I get x is equal to negative 3. All right. And that is my answer. So if we plug that back in, 3 times 6 is negative. So negative 3 times 6 is 18 plus 5. Is negative 13. Just drawing a blank for a second there. And then negative 3 minus 10 is equal to negative 13. And so we are confident negative 13 equals negative 13. So we are good. It's never a bad thing to check yourself. All right.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
Want me to leave it closed?
Yeah, just wait one second. I'm recording a video.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. So find the values of A and B. So what I see here is once again that double-sided image. So 27 and B. This is right now looking at same side interior. So these two angles, same side interior, that means that 127 plus B is equal to 180. So 180 minus 127, B equals 53. Okay, now we're only looking, I'll change colors to help you visualize it. Okay, we're only looking at these two here. So B and A are now alternate interior, because technically this line goes out. They're in between here, so they're both on the inside and then they're on opposite sides. Well, we know alternate interior angles are congruent. So angle A equals B. So if B is 53, A also equals 53. So those are my two angles there. Okay, this one's very simple. So what we see here is a 90-degree angle, Remember, this little square tells us 90 degrees. So that means these two angles are complementary. So now, just like supplementary, angle plus angle equals 90. So I just say x plus 42 equals 90. Subtract 42 from both sides, and I get x is equal to 48. For this one, you should have seen this before. It was on your Unit 1 test. The key takeaway here is you have to realize that symbol tells us the angles are equal. So, angle equals angle. So, if this angle was 61, the other angle is also 61. So what we get is x plus 61 plus 61 is equal to a line, which we know to be 180. So x, 61 plus 61 is 122, which equals 180. Subtract 22 from both sides, and I get that x is equal to 58 degrees. If you have questions over this, let your teacher know. Okay, now we look at this one. Okay, proving two lines are parallel, all we're having to say is either are the two angles congruent if they're supposed to be congruent, or are they supplementary if they're supposed to be supplementary. What I see is this one is on the exterior, and I kind of twist my head. You either say it's a below transversal, and then X is also on the exterior, but above the transversal. So if that's the case, what I'm going to say is they are alternate exterior, which means they're congruent. So if they're congruent, my formula is just angle equals angle. So 87 is equal to x. Simple as that. Okay, so list all the angles supplementary to angle EFB. So EFB. I am first going to remember supplementary. Okay, supplementary is going to be, it creates a line. It's going to add to give me. So that's going to be the two angles that it's a linear pair with, or adjacent angles. Then, so it's adjacent angles. So that is angle AFE and BFG. And then it's also any angle corresponding to an adjacent angle. What I mean by that is I say, okay, if I'm looking at AEF, I go down to the intersection and I find its corresponding angle, which are these two. So that means my corresponding angles, the corresponding angle to AFE is CFE. EFGF. And the corresponding angle is CDEFG. I guess this is supposed to be an H down here. DGH. Okay. Now, congruent angles are going to be vertical, a vertical angle to our original one, a corresponding angle, and then since this angle is exterior, also congruent is going to be alternate exterior. Okay, so its vertical angle is AFG. So angle AFG. Its corresponding angle, remember we're looking at EFB, so its corresponding is FGD. FGD. And its alternate exterior is CGH. CGH. Once again, key thing here is understanding the vocabulary. Okay, so first things first, they give us angle 1 and angle 8. So this is 1 and 8. Now, key thing here is identifying the relationship. So we don't have an exact word for this relationship, but what we do know is 1 and 5 are corresponding. So angle 1 equals angle 5, and 5 and 8 are supplementary. So that means, so angle 1 is congruent to angle 5, and angle 5 and angle 8 are supplementary. So that means that 1 and 8 are also supplementary. So what that means is our formula is angle 1 plus angle 8 equals 180. So 3y plus 2 plus 2y minus 7 equals 180. We combine like terms, so 5y, 3y plus 2y is 5y, plus 2, essentially minus 7 equals negative 5, which is equal to 180. Now we add 5 to both sides, that cancels out, and I get 5y equals 185. Now I take 185, since these are being multiplied, I divide both sides, so 185 divided by 5 gives me y is equal to 37. Okay, now I am not finished, because what I have to do now is plug it back in. So 3 times 37 plus 2, and that gives me 113. And 2 times 37 minus 7 should give me 67. It's never a bad check to say, does 113 plus 67 equal 180? It does, so we are happy. Now we just have to go in and label. So 1 is 113, so its vertical angle is 113. We already know that 1 and 5 are equal to each other. So this is also 113, and its vertical angle is 113. Now, in simple terms, every other angle is 67. So 67, 67, 67, and 67. Pause the video if you have any questions about what I've done so far. Okay. Last question. Label each statement true or false. If the statement is false, change it so that it becomes true. So, if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, the same side interior angles are congruent. So, here, I recall same side is supplementary. So, this is false. It should be supplementary. So, if corresponding angles are congruent, it proves the two lines are parallel. We are happy because corresponding, congruent. We know that's true. So, if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, alternate interior angles are congruent. So we know if they're same side, they're supplementary. So if they're not same side, which means they're alternate, then they're congruent. So we're happy. So lastly, if vertical angles are congruent, it proves the two lines are parallel. So while vertical angles are congruent, we're happy with that statement, okay? The thing is, it does not prove the two lines are parallel because it doesn't have any sort of relationship between the two intersections, okay? So to prove the lines are parallel, it has to use both intersections. So you could switch, if you want to keep congruent, vertical angle has to be changed to either corresponding, alternate interior, or alternate exterior. And that would make it true, but currently it is sitting at false. All right. That is the end of this video. If you have any questions, let us know.